All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today, as you know, I rented a Fiat 500 Abarth from Turo, and I'm going to give my first impressions of the car. So yeah, let's check it out. Here we are inside of the Fiat 500 Abarth, and yeah, first thing we gotta talk about in this car, the sound. Oh man, we're talking about first impressions. That's the thing. Like when you turn, as soon as you turn this car on, and as soon as you start driving, that sound is just amazing. Absolutely, yes. The sound that this thing creates is just amazing. Good. I probably look funny to you here with this thing on there, but that's all right. I'm just giving, you know, my first impressions of this car. And yeah, it's the sound, the fun. It's such a, like, I don't know, cool experience to be in a car that I've already driven, the Fiat 500. So to go into something that's similar, but with that exhaust note and the turbo, the turbo gauge, in a sport mode that actually works. You know, the sport mode on the Fiat 500, the regular one, I remember laughing with my wife the first time we test drove that car, and we were going up a hill, and I was like, you know, this thing's struggling, let's put it in sport mode. And we were laughing because sport mode did absolutely nothing. You know, I thought it was just for looks. I will admit though, sport mode in the regular Fiat 500, once you push it a little bit and you're on a flat surface, you're not really trying to go up anywhere. With that car, it does make a difference a bit. You feel it a bit. But on this one, oh man, like a few things change when you hit in sport mode. The exhaust always sounds good, so that's not the thing that changes, but you could really push this car a little bit harder. Now it's not anything like my Porsche, not that kind of power, but for something this small, a tiny little car, yeah, that sport mode really does kick in. It does make a big difference. And also the turbo gauge, there's a gear shift indicator on there. Now when you're in regular mode, it'll tell you to shift gears, and it tells you to shift gears at a much quicker rate than I would, you know, but it's probably doing it for gas efficiency, versus when it's in sport mode, that thing just does not tell you when to shift it. So it pretty much just, you just go. I mean, even if it does tell you to shift in regular mode, you know, it's just it telling you what it suggests for you to shift for fuel economy or whatever, what it thinks it's appropriate for you to be shifting gears. But in sport mode, that goes away. And really, you know, that right now, if I were to punch it right there, okay, right when I punched it, if it was my Porsche, yeah, it would go. On this one, you do have to wait a few seconds for that turbo to kick in, but when it kicks in, you feel it. So yeah, it's a delay, yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you're comparing this to another Fiat 500, the regular Fiat 500, yeah, that's pretty fun. So yeah, first impression is definitely the sound, and definitely how much of a difference that sport mode does in a car well fitted for it. You know, this thing, it's crazy, the percentage wise, the difference in horsepower between this one and the regular one. I mean, you're talking about I think a difference at about 60 horsepower on a car this small. And I think I've heard other people that reviewed it say that, like, if you compare that to other vehicles who have a, let's say, like my Porsche, where it has a regular base model and then you have your S model, that difference in horsepower, the percentage wise, is not as hefty as it is with the Abarth versus the regular Fiat 500. So, oh, that was a nice little pop. So yeah, that horsepower, the torque, the turbo, the sound, it makes a difference. I mean, I thought my wife's Fiat 500 was already pretty fun to drive, especially in San Francisco, where you have your hills and it has a hill assist, or the parking spots, which are tiny in the city. All those things made that car such a blast to drive. But now that I'm driving this one, ooh, I like it right off the bat. Definitely like it right off the bat. Now the sound is something I've always heard about. Like, I always heard people speak about, or reviewers speak about, the power and the way it feels is where you know, you'd have to, like, firsthand get in the car, try the other Fiat 500 and see what the actual differences are. And I must say, even though the first impression of this vehicle, like I was saying, the turbo and the sound and the sport mode actually working, with those things said, it's not enough where I'm thinking, oh, you know, this car is perfect. It's way better than the regular Fiat 500. No, it's I wouldn't say that. It's definitely a good start if you plan on getting this car as something you want to modify, or something you want to daily drive, something you want to you know, build up on. It's definitely a good start. Now, the Fiat 500 that my wife purchased, the regular Fiat 500, that's not the reason why we got that car. That car was mainly for her to learn how to drive stick shift, and then eventually she would take over the Porsche. So if the purpose of you getting this vehicle is to continue to modify and make this thing even better, then yeah, this is a good start. I would say definitely the suspension is not something I would feel confident in. It's fun, you know, but you definitely feel this little bounciness to it. So for a bone stock, the suspension, I would change that for sure. That feel, that grip, it's a little bit wobbly in my opinion, and compared to something that's a little bit more stable, like the Porsche that I'm driving, where the engine's in the middle, that suspension's a little bit sportier. I think that's a better feel than this. And then there's everything else that comes with the car, you know, like your seats. I believe these are heated seats. They're leather. They're, you know, they're not the most plush leather, but they're good. They do the trick. And as far as like stereo system, it's pretty basic. So you don't get the navigation, you don't get the backup camera, which I think after 2016, I think, was mandatory. So not sure what year this car is. It has to be much older than that, because it does not have the backup camera or anything like that. And then, oh, the blind spots. When you're looking to your right, not bad, but the blind spot here to your left, when you're looking to change lanes, this pillar back here, it's really wide and it does get in the way. Now, the way Fiat has kind of managed that is with their mirror, and their mirror it's split. It has a bit of a corner where you could see a little bit more in your blind spot on that second split of the mirror. Also, if you really needed to, you could look completely back at this little window, and it may help you a bit. but not anything as clear as your typical vehicle. This one, the spot, I think Fiat knew that spot there was a little blind, a bit of a blind spot, which is why they added that to the mirror. That's something you need to get used to, because I think in a pinch, you may not think to look at that little piece of the mirror, or you might not turn all the way back, and before you know it, you have a car right there to your left, and like I'm doing right now. But there's no car there. So yeah, other than that, you know, overall super fun car. Honestly, this is a car that I wouldn't mind having for myself, like as a project car, as something to just kind of throw around. It's super inexpensive. That's something I haven't even talked about yet, is that you can buy these used. I'm sure you could find some somewhere in the country for well under $10,000. Now brand new, I don't think Fiat's actually sending any of these to North America anymore at a new price, but I'm almost certain, guaranteed, you'll find something under $10,000. So for what you're getting, right, a turbo manual transmission with an exhaust note that right off the bat sounds that good, and that's just fun to kind of throw around, really inexpensive parts, this is a good car, you know. If you're going back to like what I was saying with the Fiat 500 that we have purchased, if you're going for something like that where you're just, you know, you just want to learn how to drive stick shift, or you're just going from point A to point B and don't really care about all this little fun stuff, then yeah, you know, you could go even cheaper with the other Fiat 500. That's where I would go with that one. Now I will be doing a comparison video of the two to actually show you the differences between the two Fiat 500s. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys a first impression of it, first time driving it, and I took it down my favorite road. That's where I've taken the Porsche 718 that I rented on Turo, and also the Mercedes-Benz C300 that I rented on Turo. So it was just fitting that I would also take this Fiat Abarth there as well. But yeah, I think that's all I got for as far as first impressions of the car. Make sure you watch the video where I actually go rent the car on Turo, in case you never used Turo and you want to learn how to use that. And also what's it called, I'll probably be doing for sure a comparison of the regular Fiat 500 and the Abarth, and also probably just a review of the car itself. We'll see if I do that as well. But yeah, make sure you look for those videos, and please subscribe, like, share, and comment. Let me know what you think. Maybe you own one and you want to give your feedback as far as your thoughts on the Fiat 500 or the Fiat 500 Abarth. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.